Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel, I hope. Everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Golden Bachelorette Chock Chapple's devastating loss. Golden Bachelorette contestant Chock Chapple has experienced a devastating loss in his life. The 60-year-old who lives in Wichita, Kansas has quickly become a fan favorite on Joan Vasso's premiere season. He made an impression on Joan and was even given the first one-on-one date of the season. During his time with Joan, Chock opened up about his fiancé who passed away tragically. Keep reading to find out more. Chock Chapple opens up to Joan Vasso's about his sad loss. Golden Bachelorette fan favorite Chock Chapple was given the first date of Joan Vasso's season. They shared a fun day at Disneyland together, even snagging a photo with Mickey and Minnie Mouse. During their date, Chock opened up more to Joan and shared a devastating loss he endured in 2022. It turns out the father of two was engaged a few years ago. However, she sadly passed away. She was Catherine Elizabeth Kathy Gorey. While talking about family during the evening portion of their date, Chock told her about his ex-fiancé. The two became more connected, and Joan did give him the rose. He has already told her in the first episode that he was lonely and ready to find his person. On Wednesday night, he revealed that he and Joan have a lot in common and share the same beliefs and morals. Chock really wants to get to know her better and feels she could be the one missing from his life. All about Chock's ex-fiancé. Mio shared more about Chock Chapple's fiancé who passed away. Kathy passed away tragically when she was 52 years old. She died from a brain tumor. Kathy had 2 children, and she and Chock were planning their life together. When she passed away, Chock said, "Kathy was an absolute sick, incredible mother, sister, daughter, and better half. Super K was full of love. She lost her battle to cancer while never complaining nor having any regrets." Kathy's love for her family, friends, and furry friends was second to none. Before being engaged to Kathy, Chock was married to the mother of his children. The two divorced, and then he met Kathy. Now, he's ready to open his heart again. Joan appears to be very into Chock and fans are loving it. In a season brimming with sparkling laughter, late-night confessions, and hopeful hearts, one moment pierced the golden glow with a sobering shadow. Chock Chapple, the ever-smiling soul whose wit and warmth charmed not just Joan Vasso's, but Bachelor Nation itself, faced a devastating loss that reshaped his journey on Golden Bachelorette. It wasn't just a loss, it was the loss, one that strikes at the core of identity and belonging. For Chock, it was the moment his world turned inward, forcing him to confront the fragility of life and the unyielding power of grief, while under the relentless spotlight of reality TV, the man behind the smile. From the moment Chock stepped onto the Golden Bachelorette stage, he was unforgettable. His arrival was marked by a confident stride and a laugh that could disarm even the sharpest critique. Joan had called him a beacon of light in a sea of nerves, and fans quickly agreed. At 63, he was a man who carried the wisdom of a life well lived, paired with the buoyancy of a soul still chasing sunsets. But beneath his playful demeanor lay the foundation of a life built on love, faith, and family. Chock often spoke of his late wife, Miranda, whom he'd lost years prior to a courageous battle with cancer. He shared how their love shaped his understanding of partnership and prepared him to honor the next great chapter of his life. Miranda was his rock, and though he'd moved forward, her memory guided his every decision. The unexpected call. The day the call came, the contestants were enjoying a rare morning of respite. Tucked into the serene confines of the villa, the men had begun to form a brotherhood, a rarity in a competition driven by romance. Chock, always the entertainer, had been mid-story, recounting a time he and Miranda took a spontaneous road trip across the Midwest. Then his phone buzzed. Chock excused himself, stepping onto the villa's sun-drenched balcony. It was his son, Marcus, on the other end, a man Chock adored and often referred to as his greatest pride. But today, Marcus's voice was taut. the usual ease replaced by a trembling edge. "Dad, it's Granddad. He passed this morning." Chock's breath hitched. His father, Charles Big Chuck Chapple Sr., was more than a parent. He was a legacy, a lighthouse, a man who taught him everything from the perfect handshake to the sanctity of a promise. Big Chuck had lived to 89, a robust figure who seemed impervious to the passage of time. Though his health had been declining, Chock wasn't ready to say goodbye. The villa's balcony, with its Mediterranean breeze, became a cocoon for Chock's breaking heart. Choosing to stay, producers offered Chock a choice. He could leave immediately to be with his family or stay to continue his journey with Joan. It wasn't a decision he took lightly. For Chock, family came first. But in the quiet of his villa suite, surrounded by Miranda's memory and Big Chuck's lessons, he found clarity. Big Chuck had always been a proponent of living fully. When life offers you a dance, he would say, "You take the floor." Leaving the show might have felt right in the moment, but staying felt like honoring his father's enduring spirit. Chock knew what his dad would have wanted, for him to pursue the life and love he deserved. "I'm staying," Chock told producers the next morning, his voice steady but his eyes reflecting the weight of the choice. A vulnerable heart. That evening, during the group date, Chock broke his silence. Sitting across from Joan on a terrace bathed in golden light, he shared the news. His voice wavered as he spoke of Big Chuck, the man who'd instilled in him the courage to love fiercely, even after loss. Joan reached for his hand, her own eyes glistening with empathy. "Chock," she said softly, "it takes so much strength to share your heart like this. Your father raised an incredible man." Their bond deepened in that moment. Joan saw Chock not just as a potential partner, but as a man who carried love through every challenge life threw his way. But grief is a tidal wave, and as the days unfolded, it was clear Chock wasn't immune to its pull. There were moments when his usual humor faltered, replaced by a quiet introspection. He withdrew slightly from the other men, choosing instead to sit by the villa's fire pit, gazing into the flames as if searching for answers. The hometown date. When it came time for hometown dates, Chock's vulnerability became his strength. Instead of crafting a picture-perfect narrative, he invited Joan into the rawness of his reality. Joan met Marcus and Chock's 2 grandchildren, who spoke lovingly of Big Chuck and the legacy he left behind. There was laughter as Marcus recounted tales of his grandfather's larger-than-life personality, but there were also tears as they reflected on the emptiness his passing left. For Joan, this was love in its truest form, a family bound by resilience and the willingness to feel every emotion, even the hardest ones. A farewell letter. On the morning of the final rose ceremony, Chock found a quiet moment to write a letter to Big Chuck. It wasn't meant for anyone else's eyes, but the act was cathartic, a way to say goodbye while carrying his father's spirit into the next chapter. "My dear Dad," he began, "thank you for teaching me to love without fear, to dream without limits, and to fight for what matters. Today, I carry you with me as I take another step forward. I hope I make you proud." He folded the letter carefully and tucked it into his pocket, a private talisman of his father's enduring presence. A new beginning. When Joan called his name that evening, offering him the penultimate rose, Chock felt the weight of every moment leading up to it. His father's memory, Miranda's legacy, and his own courageous heart had brought him to this point. Though the pain of loss would never fully fade, Chock knew he was stepping into a future bright with possibility. And as Joan slipped her hand into his, he silently thanked Big Chuck for every lesson that had brought him here. In the golden glow of the ceremony, Chock Chapple's devastating loss became a testament to the resilience of love and the extraordinary strength it takes to embrace life's second chances.